Let's go now to Senator Jacqui Lambie joining us live. Senator, good to see you as always. It looks as though a movement is afoot from the Treasurer's point of view anyway when it comes to helping Victorian businesses in some capacity and workers as well. There hasn't been a specific announcement yet on what form that help should take, but do you support that?
I do support that at the moment, especially with Victoria. I think this is the fourth time they've gone into lockdown. I think we need to have something in place. Obviously, this thing isn't going away in a hurry. If it's going to keep hitting these states continuously, I just think it's a good idea if the states chuck in their money, the federals meet them dollar for dollar, but something needs to be done because right now I'm going to have workers out there in Victoria at their shortest period, they're not going to have work for 2 weeks. So whether that's an emergency payment coming from Centrelink, or whatever, to show that you haven't been able to work for that 2 weeks, but something certainly needs to be done. I just can't have these people, especially these ones on casuals, that have got 2 or 3 jobs and relying on that to pay their rent. We need to do something. And obviously business out there, especially in Victoria, we've seen the disaster. We've seen what it's done here for 6 weeks and we're into lockdown. We've only had it once, mate. And I can tell you if those businesses had to go now in their 4th lockdown down here in Tasmania, they would no longer have their doors open. So something, I think we need to do something about these emergency payments.
Where is the line, though? Because at what point does it start becoming an incentive, Senator, for premiers to just lock down?
Look, I don't know what else they can actually do in Victoria. I think they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Do we take the risk and let this thing run its course and let it out there, through everything? Is this the mutation of the Indian one, which is, which is even worse? So I just think in the meantime, until most people are vaccinated here in Australia, we're going to continue to have these problems. Not just worrying about vaccinating ourselves. Obviously, while we're not being vaccinated, we're not opening our international borders and we get a great deal of money for the economy by having those borders open. We won't be able to do that until those third world countries can actually, they can get this under control as well. But we can't even do that own. We're a first world country and we haven't been able to do that. These vaccinations were supposed to be, especially through those first responders, by the end of April. And in aged care, I think there's about 1/10 of them that had been done between the workers and the aged care residents. So it is really, really worrying, but we need to get this under control. And if that means those vaccinations, they've been a failure from the start. And while they are being hampered, we've got no room to move. And this is going to continue.
Senator Richard Colbeck mentioned yesterday that he's quite comfortable with the status of vaccinations when it comes to aged care residents and workers at the moment. There's still some 33,076 staff and residents, to be precise, still not to be vaccinated. Are you comfortable with that?
No, I'm not comfortable with that because the whole way along, the federal government has been telling us they've got these vaccines under control and we're now well over a year in, and we're still having the same problems we were having back then on being able to obtain them firstly, let alone, getting to the point of making them. We are miles behind the mark here. And I can tell you now, I can bet you Richard Colbeck, if that damn COVID hits down here, especially that Indian strain in Tasmania, I bet you he'll be backtracking on that very bloody quickly. We have a problem and the government needs to stand up and be honest, and it needs to say to people, you know what, we stuffed this. We have stuffed this and we're doing everything that we possibly can, but admit that you got it wrong. You didn't have those vaccinations in place. We're not all vaccinated. We are far from the point. At least please be honest with the public over this. We're in a health crisis here in this country because of this COVID. So please be honest with them.
When it comes to quarantine, though, if you take out Victoria, it's worked everywhere else. So shouldn't this be on the state government, on its own government?
In Victoria now, we're not just looking at a couple of suburbs now. They're all over the place. And even I think New South Wales is now looking in their own backyard. So these strains, the more that they mutate, trying to keep up with them is going to be really, really difficult. The only answer I can do, once again, is go back to the start. The sooner most of us are vaccinated, the sooner hopefully we'll have more control over what is going on.
But some of the numbers that came out yesterday, and this is relating to hotel quarantine now, some 350,000 Australians have returned home. There's been 3,855 positive cases, but just 21 breaches. It's 0.5% of breaches have come from positive cases. I mean, all in all, it seems like that's a pretty good effort.
Look, I think that is a pretty good effort, no doubt about that. I still would not have put those quarantine places in the cities. That has been a good effort in itself. But once again, we come back to being able to control this a lot better than what we're doing, and that comes down to having that vaccine and having that readily available. And it's been well over a year, so I think that's our biggest problem right now. What other choice do we have? Do we just not go into lockdown and let this thing go ballistic? Because I'm not quite sure what else these premiers can actually do. Sure, if you want to stand back and see what sort of destruction it's going to do and you want to test that out, then please go ahead. But I know that Tasmanians don't particularly want to go back into lockdown, nor do they want that back down here. So we do have a problem.
It seems as though the Victorian government, though, is still shooting for an elimination strategy. And Nick Coatsworth a few weeks ago, he said that, elimination is basically a false idol. At some point, we're going to have to live with this thing. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with those older statements from Nick Coatsworth?
I don't think while this thing's floating around the rest of the world, we're ever going to get elimination. So, but the best thing that we've got to fight this thing right now is those vaccines. And I think, once again, the sooner most of us get vaccinated, hopefully the better off we're going to be. But I mean, even then, Pete, who knows? If this strain keeps mutating, who knows what's going to happen in the future? But certainly those NRMA ones, the Pfizer ones, they seem to be, placing your money on those sort of NRMA ones. They seem to be a better technology. They've been more resistant to the other strains, apparently. I would certainly be shooting right to the top and trying to get many people as vaccinated with that Pfizer as we possibly can.
Hey, Senator, I just want to ask you and close with this health advice that came yesterday from the Chief Public Health Officer of South Australia relating to people who go to the footy. Let's play a bit of that.
If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
What do you make of that health advice?
Kids behind me, so they get a smack in the head with a football. Geez, I don't know about that. And what's your first reaction as a person, right? The first reaction is, got to get it. They're still not offering cash. Are they offering cash still? Because I think one stage was that just with the cricket, you catch the ball, you get the cash. So I think,
I don't think so. I think that advice, going by what she's saying, is if the ball's coming for you, then you either duck, or if you're not watching, then you just got to let it hit you.
You just hit you in the head, knock yourself out. I'm sure that'd be great. That'll make the front pages for me. Anything for a headline.
Great health advice, that is. Jacqui Lambie, always good to chat. Talk to you soon.
Thanks very much.